For providers, the Cochise decision means that you can be vulnerable to False Claims Act claims for up to 10 years after the alleged violation. This was kind of a seismic shift in the world of False Claims Act actions, because it was sort of assumed that if the federal government decided not to intervene, then that 6-year time statute of limitations would apply. But now we're living in a different world. So this 10-year statute of limitations is going to come into play a lot more often than it used to. Medical records, of course, can prove to be a powerful tool in defending against any sort of False Claims Act violation and, med-mal claims, any of those sorts of things. Proper documentation can support medical necessity for claims submitted to Medicare for payment. And often in False Claims Act actions, you're dealing with someone alleging that you have submitted claims that were not necessary or were above maybe upcoding or something like that. If you don't have the medical records anymore, so for example, you thought, well, HIPAA only requires me to keep medical records for 6 years, so I'm going to get rid of all of my records after 6 years. But then you have a False Claims Act claim that comes 10 years later, and you don't have those records anymore, then you're not going to be able to defend yourself, and that is going to put you in a really tricky spot. So prior to this decision, everyone kind of advised that providers should follow the HIPAA guidelines or longer depending on state law and keep all their records for 6 years. Following this decision from the Supreme Court, we recommend to all of our clients that they keep medical records for at least 10 years to make sure you're protecting yourself and your practice from any sort of False Claims Act claims. And False Claims Act claims can be pretty huge when it comes to numbers and cost for your organization. So we definitely recommend just taking this basic step of keeping your medical records for at least 10 years to ward off any of those sorts of claims and make sure you have the proper defense in line if you need them.